Hi everyone, so this is just going to be a quick follow-up video from my YouTube live stream from last night, which was Sunday the 26th of July. Now in that live stream I showed how to make some vinyl designs where you inlay words with inside another bigger word. And somebody asked how you would cut the design in vinyl because it was in two colours. So this is just Monday the 27th of July now, and literally I'm just going to quickly show you how to retrieve the file from Canvas on your machine and how you would line up the vinyl to make the two colours of vinyl for the design line up better than trying to guess it. So I'm going to come to my ScanNCut machine, I'm going to come to retrieve data, and from Canvas, because that's where I sent the file over from, and I'm not sure how well you're going to see this, but the two designs are here on my mat. And if you watched the live stream, or if you go back and watch that first, you'll see that I explained, although the big word here that says home was coloured in black on the Canvas screen, and the word down here at the bottom, which is home sweet, was coloured in red on the screen. These come into your machine just in black, and this is why I said separate them out, because if you've got them, you know, still both together, it might be harder for you to see. And this is why I just said separate them on your mat, but keep each element of the words grouped with its little alignment boxes. So the first thing I'm going to do is just hit save and just save the design temporarily into my machine. I can always go back and delete it later if I don't want to keep it. And I'm going to say OK. So now I'm going to select the words home sweet. I'm going to come to edit and send them to the rubbish and say OK. So I'm just left with the main element on my mat, which in Canvas Workspace was black. Now I'm going to cut this. I just literally grabbed two colours of vinyl from my drawer, and I've got a deep orange and a paler orange. So I'm going to cut this element in the deep orange, and then I'm going to be inlaying it with the other words in a paler kind of orangey yellow. So I've already loaded up my mat with my dark orange vinyl. So I'm going to load the mat. I'm going to say OK and do a background scan and start. Okay, and I'm doing this so that I can hopefully see to make sure that I'm positioning my cutout shapes on this mat. I'm going to say OK, select and cut, and because it's vinyl I'm going to go into the wrench icon and I'm going to turn on half cut. So I'm just going to scroll down, and when I see half cut I'm going to put that on, because for vinyl you only want to cut through the top layer of the vinyl. So I'm going to say OK and start. Okay, that's finished. So I'm just going to unload the mat and remove this piece of vinyl from my mat. And just while I've got the vinyl here, one of the other things that we discussed in last night's live stream was vinyl itself. Now, normal home decor vinyl, or vinyl that you can use outdoor, which is what this is a side writer grade vinyl. As I said, I have a sign writer local, and or a couple of years ago, I went and asked him could I buy some of his offcuts, because I don't use vinyl very often, and that's what all this is that I've got. So this is actually, I could put this outdoor and it would last. But home decor vinyl, so vinyl that you're going to use indoor, or vinyl that is outdoor vinyl that you can put, you know, on cups and glasses or put it outside of your house, normally has a solid colour like this. And when you turn it over, it has a paper backing. Not sure how well you're going to see this. There you go, that's a bit better. So you can see it's got vinyl on one side and it's got paper on the reverse. And this type of vinyl you cut from the top. So if you were making text, you'd put your text on so it's in the right orientation. Okay, you don't need to flip it. And this is the one that I'm going to be doing next. And this is the same, it's got a paper backing. Okay, heat transfer vinyl is a different type of vinyl. This, I'm not sure how well you're going to see this, but this has got a shiny surface. And when you turn it over, instead of seeing paper like you see on this one, you see the colour only in a matte format of what you see on the glossy side. So this is heat transfer vinyl, and if you were cutting words in this, you have to flip or mirror your words. Because with heat transfer vinyl, you cut it shiny side down. So if I cut the word Hannah on here and had it just reading Hannah, when I flip that over to iron it on my project, it would be backwards. So heat transfer vinyl has a shiny side and a dull matte colour side, and you cut it if it's words or if the pattern has a direction, you have to flip it. Regular vinyl is generally just coloured. Sometimes it can be patterned as well, but you always usually have a paper backing of some description. And this one you cut colour side up so you don't flip your words. So I just want to clarify that, because that was discussed in last night's live stream. So I'm just going to put that one on one side for now, and I'm going to load up my second piece of vinyl, and I'm just going to give this a good burnish down onto this mat. I'm rubbing it down quite hard because you want it to really stick to the mat, and obviously you don't want any air bubbles or anything in it. So I'm going to load this mat now back into the ScanNCut machine. I'm going to say yes, it's okay to finish that, and hit the home button and say okay to delete all patterns. Now I'm going to go to retrieve data into the machine where I saved the design, call the design up, and then this time I'm going to say okay, and when I get it on my mat, I'm going to choose the word home, select edit, and hit the trash and say okay to delete, because this time I just want the home suite and its alignment boxes that go with it. So I'm going to say okay, do a background scan and start. So I can see where my words are and my boxes, and they look as though they're going to fit on this piece okay. So I'm going to say okay, select, cut. I've still got half cut on because I've not turned it off, and it will stay on until I actually go into the settings and turn it off. So if you are cutting vinyl, always remember to go back into your settings at the end of your, you know, cutting and turn it off, because if you then go to cut card, you know, tomorrow or a week later, you'll wonder why it's not cutting properly, because you'll have left half cut on. So I'm going to start and get this one cutting. Okay, so that's finished. I'm going to say okay and unload the mat. So I'm going to remove this from the mat. And vinyl tends to roll, so another little trick is if you just don't crease it, but just roll it back on itself. That sometimes helps it to lie flatter. Okay, so what I want to do now is I want to weed away all the excess vinyl on this first piece, so that it leaves me with the words and my 2 alignment squares. So I'm using an old piercing tool, but you can buy proper vinyl weeding tools. Sometimes they have a hook on the end, but this, you know, will do for me. So I'm going to dig into the vinyl and grab a bit of the vinyl up in a corner out of the way, and I'm going to start to peel this away, leaving behind the bits I want left on this backing paper. So I'm just going to weed slowly and gently. And you may have to, you know, go in with your piercing tool or your whatever you're using to help the vinyl peel away. And you just have to take your time with this. You know, it's better to take your time and do it slowly and get it right than having to start all over again. And it does want to stick to itself, the vinyl. So as I say, just take your time, and if it's getting in the way, you can always, you know, cut it away if it's getting a bit unwieldy. I keep some old scissors in my drawer that I use, you know, for cutting adhesive and that kind of thing. So you just peel it all away. So chop some of it off if it's getting too much. And it'll, you know, just screw it up onto itself and then carry on removing. There's no prizes for removing your vinyl all in one go, you know, just take your time. Like here now, I'm going to have to help it to free up in between these letters. And again, I'll get as much as I can. But if I have to cut some away, I will. So you just take your time, work your way through your design. Stick all that together, and then I'm going to come back in here and remove these bits. So I've not got as much vinyl attached now, so it makes it a little bit easier to weed out. So that looks as though I've got everything. There you go, just trying to make it a little bit darker so you can see. So that's how it's looking at the moment. So I've got the first element and the 2 alignment boxes, and I'm going to repeat that with the second part. So again, I'm going to pick up the vinyl, I'm going to remove away all the sections that I don't need and leave behind the 2 boxes and the words. Again, I'm just going to take my time, peel this away slowly. And because I applied the half cut, it's only cut through the vinyl and not through the paper backing. And that's exactly what you want for vinyl. Okay, so that's that one. And then I can come in and I can weed out the little bits from the middles of the letters. And then these just stick to your waste that you've pulled away because it's sticky and the vinyl wants to stick to itself. So, you know, it's a good place to just pile them all up. And then you can dispose of everything together. Because you do find when you're working with vinyl that you will end up with bits of vinyl stuck, you know, to your clothing, or you'll drop bits on the floor and they'll end up stuck to your shoes or your socks or whatever. Okay, so I'm just going to put all that in the bin. So there is my second word. So now I'm going to use some transfer paper and I'm going to pick this up and layer it on top of the other one using these alignment squares. Now, the only clear transfer paper I could find was this cheap stuff that you've seen me use in previous YouTube lives, the stuff I got, you know, the stuff that you get for like covering children's notebooks, that kind of thing. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just peel away about 1.5 inches. I'll show you in a minute. This is wanting to roll up on itself. So I'm just kind of exposing just a section of the vinyl. I've folded it back here. And I'm just going to lay this on top of the vinyl, and then I'm just going to lift this up and I'm going to drag this away so that the sticky of my transfer tape is now over this word. Then I'm going to bring this one in, and this sometimes is where it helps to tape this down if you can, if you've got enough space to tape it down. So I'm just going to bring this in towards me and see if I can find some washi tape just to hold it in place, because when you're doing something like this you need about 3 pairs of hands. So I'm just going to anchor just the top of this transfer tape just to my desk for a minute. In fact, I might put a bit on the bottom as well and see if that helps, just to hold it still. So what we want to do now is line up this on top of this so that all these words fit in these spaces. So the easiest way to do this, the first thing I'm going to do is just chop away some of this extra sticky that I don't need. Get rid of that. So with this piece, I'm going to, first of all, I'm going to give it a good burnish, which will hopefully make all the vinyl release better. I'm just going to bring it over here and rub it from the top as well. I don't want the bits of vinyl that are overhanging sticking on here. So I'm going to peel away the backing from this clear sticky transfer sheet, but I'm only going to peel it away enough to expose those squares. And if it doesn't come away, you know, just give it another little rub and help it. Like I say, this is where you need about 3 hands. So I'm just going to fold that away, and I'll use my spatula just to crease that down out of the way, just to make it a little bit easier. So I've got this design still on its vinyl backing paper, and I've taped it to my desk just to make it a little bit easier. The next section, I've put the transfer tape over everything, and then I've turned it over and I've rolled away the transfer tape, so the only bits that are exposed of this design are the squares. And now all I have to worry about is lining up these 2 squares with those 2 squares. Because I've not taken the backing off here, I don't have to worry about this wanting to stick on top where I don't want it. So I may have to get my head in the camera, but I just want to line up these squares on top of each other. I'm not pulling the vinyl, I'm just trying to get them positioned on top of each other. And when I think they look okay, I'm just going to rub that bit down. Okay, now if I've lined these 2 squares up correctly, this acts as a hinge, and I can start to peel away the rest of the design. But again, you may have to go over it to help the paper release from the words. And the easiest way to do this is to just roll it back on itself from the words. And because I've got this anchored down on my desk and this is stuck here, it's kind of acting as like an extra pair of hands for me. So I can peel this away. You can just see, so I've peeled this away and then I can pick this up. I can just see a little bit of paper stuck to the back of one of my letters. I just want to pick that up and get it out of the way because I don't want that transferring onto my vinyl. Okay, that's fine. So now I can just bring this back over and I can position it in place. And then I'm going to take a spatula and I'm just going to gently rub all that down. Now I know this piece of vinyl you probably can't see, but it's finishing here, and that was, if you remember before, where I chopped that piece of vinyl off because it was getting in my way, but I knew I'd cut it bigger for a reason. So what I'm going to do, just going to bring my vinyl back in and just cut myself another piece. I don't need much. If I hadn't have chopped that piece of clear vinyl off before when I was lining it up, this would all be covered in one piece. But what I'm going to do, I'm just going to get another piece of vinyl. Not vinyl, clear transfer tape. And I'm going to, this is all sticking to itself now. I'm just going to position it over just so it covers everything. There you go. So that is how you line up vinyl using alignment shapes. Now, just going to peel the washi tape away from my desk. And get rid of that. So this now is ready to be transferred onto whatever surface I want to transfer it on. So what I would do now is I would cut these squares off because you don't need them. These squares were only to enable the letters to be lined up with the letters underneath. So I would cut them off. And this is now your sign, or this is now your vinyl ready to go on your sign. And again, when you're ready to put it on, if it's a wooden plaque or a frame or whatever it is you're doing, you just start to peel, give it a good rub down over all the design. And start to peel away the backing. Now I'm finding with this that sometimes it's leaving a little bit of paper behind, so if you use your pokey tool just to break that seal, it will start to remove for you. Let's get rid of that. And then you just start peeling your backing paper away to expose your words. I'm not going to peel it all off because I've got no use for this at the moment, so I want to leave it on the backing paper. But this is all you do. You peel away slowly and gently. Again, I can see there's some paper there. I'm just breaking the seal. And if you do this and take your time, you'll peel this away and you'll be left with your vinyl letters on your transfer tape that you can then apply to the surface. As I say, I don't want to remove it because I've got no use for it at the moment. I may as well just leave the transfer tape stuck to it and leave it on the backing. But when you start to peel this away, it will peel away all together. So I would pick that all up in one go and then apply it to the surface. So that was just a quick follow-on video from showing you how I made the design and how, using the alignment squares that I put in Canvas, I was able to then inlay the home suite within the big word home. So I hope that was helpful. I'll leave a link under this video to the live stream, and I'll go back to last night's live stream and I'll put a link to this video once it's uploaded onto my YouTube channel. Please give the video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you don't already do so, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.